In the sweeping, unforgiving landscape of the Mongolian steppes, few could have imagined that a child, born under harsh conditions and abandoned by his tribe, would one day rise to change the course of history. This is the story of Genghis Khan, a name that strikes both awe and fear across time. How did a young boy, struggling to survive in one of the world's most hostile environments, rise to unify a fractured people and carve out an empire that would stretch from the shores of the Pacific to the fringes of Europe? The answer is a tale of resilience, strategic genius, and a vision that few leaders have matched. Genghis Khan didn't simply seek power, he sought to reshape his world, leaving behind a legacy that would redefine entire continents and continue to echo in our world today. As a young boy, Genghis Khan, born Temujin, learned the brutal rules of survival early on. Life on the steppes was raw and unforgiving, filled with constant tribal conflicts, scarce resources, and merciless winters. Losing his father to poisoning by a rival tribe, Temujin was thrust into a life of hardship, forced to navigate the treacherous politics and harsh realities of the steppe with his family. These experiences forged in him a resilience that would become legendary. But what set him apart was his ability to not only endure these trials but to learn from them, developing a vision of unity that was revolutionary for his time. He was not content to simply survive, he began to envision a united people, strong enough to withstand the endless cycle of betrayal and violence that had defined their world. With each battle won, Temujin gained both followers and a reputation. His tactics, brutal yet effective, won him loyalty that was not based solely on fear but on respect and the promise of a better future. Under his leadership, the Mongols were no longer a scattered collection of warring tribes but a disciplined force united by a single purpose. It was this unity, built on trust, shared loyalty, and Temujin's vision of a greater purpose, that would pave the way for an empire unlike any the world had ever seen. Through clever diplomacy, calculated ruthlessness, and an unmatched understanding of human nature, he transformed the Mongol army into an unstoppable force. His ambition was boundless, and his methods often ruthless, but the sheer scale of his vision demanded nothing less. He was not just building an empire, he was reshaping the world order. As Genghis Khan's power grew, so did his influence and the reach of his empire. His conquests opened up vast new territories, but with each victory came both admiration and terror. People spoke of him as a conqueror with unparalleled vision, a leader who could inspire the fiercest loyalty and the deepest fear. Cities fell, civilizations trembled, and yet through it all, Genghis Khan maintained an almost paradoxical sense of justice and order within his realm. Trade flourished under his protection, new ideas crossed borders that had once been insurmountable, and the Mongol Empire became a hub of cultural exchange that, in many ways, set the stage for the globalized world we know today. This documentary will take you through the life of Genghis Khan, the man who built the largest contiguous empire in history, an empire that reshaped nations and altered the course of civilizations. From his earliest days as a boy fighting to survive to his rise as a feared and respected ruler, we will uncover the human behind the legend. His legacy is complex, a blend of visionary leadership and relentless ambition. Was he a ruthless conqueror who destroyed as much as he built, or was he a visionary who saw beyond the chaos of his time to create a new order? This question remains as fascinating as it is divisive, and it is here in the intricacies of his life and choices that we find the heart of Genghis Khan's story. As we journey through the rise and reign of Genghis Khan, we will encounter moments of intense loyalty and fierce conflict, pivotal battles, and unexpected alliances. We will explore the depth of his ambitions, the brutality of his methods, and the profound impact he had on the world, an impact that endures to this day. In understanding his legacy, we must confront the duality of a man who was both feared and revered. What might have happened had he failed, and how different would our world be without his influence? These questions linger, inviting us to delve into the life of one of history's most compelling figures, a man whose story is woven into the very fabric of global history. Temujin, who would later become known as Genghis Khan, was born into a world of struggle and hardship around 1162, in the unforgiving steppes of Mongolia. His early life was marked by challenges that few could endure, and from these challenges, he would emerge as one of the most formidable leaders in history. His family belonged to the Borjigin clan, a noble lineage within Mongol society, but despite this, Temujin's path to power and influence was far from straightforward. The harsh realities of the Mongolian steppe, with its brutal winters, scarce resources, and constant tribal warfare, created a backdrop against which Temujin's character was forged. Tragedy struck Temujin's life at a young age when his father, Yasuji, the chief of their clan, was poisoned by a rival tribe called the Tatars. Yasuji's death had devastating consequences for Temujin and his family. With the death of the clan leader, the Borjigin tribe saw Temujin's family as a burden and a potential threat. They abandoned his mother, Holun, along with Temujin and his siblings, leaving them to fend for themselves in the wilderness. This abandonment was both a betrayal and a death sentence, as life on the steppe required the protection and support of a clan. Yet, against all odds, Holun and her children survived, drawing strength from each other and learning the skills and resilience needed to survive in isolation. Holun, a woman of remarkable strength and determination, became the backbone of the family. She gathered roots, hunted small animals, and did everything possible to ensure her children's survival. Holun's influence on Temujin was profound. She taught him the importance of resilience, unity, and loyalty, values that he would later instill in his followers. These early years, marked by deprivation and relentless hardship, shaped Temujin's understanding of loyalty and betrayal. He learned that survival depended not on birthright, but on the strength of alliances and the willingness to fight for what was essential. During these formative years, Temujin's relationships with his siblings were also shaped by the harsh conditions of survival. A significant and dark incident from his youth involved his half-brother Begta. As the eldest sibling, Begtur attempted to assert authority over Temujin and claimed more of the family's scarce resources. Tensions grew, and this rivalry came to a violent end when Temujin, fearing Begtur would challenge his own role within the family, killed him. Though harsh by modern standards, this action was a necessary assertion of control in a world where every choice could mean the difference between life and death. This event marked Temujin's first decisive action as a leader, foreshadowing the tough decisions he would make in the years to come. Yet, violence was not his only lesson in these early years. Through the trials of family life and survival, Temujin also learned the value of compassion and loyalty, especially as he witnessed his mother's selflessness and dedication. This balance between ruthlessness and empathy would later become a hallmark of his leadership, allowing him to be both feared and respected by those who served under him. One of the most critical experiences of Temujin's youth was his capture by the Taichud tribe, a rival group within the Mongol steppes. Kidnapped and held in bondage, Temujin was made to feel the full weight of vulnerability, but this ordeal only strengthened his resolve. Through cleverness and determination, he managed to escape from captivity with the help of a sympathetic guard. This escape was a turning point, as it marked Temujin's first real taste of victory against overwhelming odds. From this experience, he learned valuable lessons in resilience, trust, and the power of loyalty. His escape also became an inspiring story that helped build his reputation among other tribes, showing them that he was a leader who could not be subdued. Around this time, Temujin also began forming critical alliances that would shape his future. One of the most significant of these relationships was with Jamukha, a childhood friend who shared Temujin's dreams of unity and power. Together, they pledged themselves as Anda, or blood brothers, a bond considered sacred and lifelong among the Mongols. Jamukha was an influential figure in his own right, and the two friends dreamed of uniting the fractured tribes of the steppe. However, as they grew older, their visions for the Mongol people began to diverge. While Jamukha held onto the traditional tribal hierarchies and customs, Temujin envisioned a society that rewarded loyalty and skill rather than noble birth. This difference in philosophy would later lead them down separate, and eventually opposing, paths, transforming Jamukha from an ally into one of Temujin's fiercest rivals. Temujin's early experiences with love and marriage also played a significant role in shaping his destiny. When he was still young, Temujin's family arranged for him to marry Borte, a woman from the neighboring Okanad tribe. Borte would become not only a loyal partner but also a critical political ally. Shortly after their marriage, Borte was kidnapped by the Merkit tribe as an act of revenge against Temujin's family. Determined to rescue her, Temujin sought help from both Jamukha and Togrul, the leader of the Karite tribe. This rescue mission marked one of Temujin's earliest alliances with powerful tribal leaders, and his success in bringing Borte back reinforced his reputation as a determined and capable leader. Borte's loyalty and presence by his side would be a source of strength and legitimacy throughout Temujin's life, further solidifying his role as a man with both the ability to protect those he loved and the skill to build alliances. These years of survival, struggle, and and early ambition equipped Temujin with a unique understanding of the Mongol tribes and the complexities of their loyalties. Through hunger, isolation, and betrayal, he gained an intimate knowledge of human nature and the social structures of his people. Every hardship he endured added to his growing resolve to bring order and unity to the steppes, which had been plagued by tribal infighting and power struggles for generations. His experiences taught him that survival depended not only on individual strength but also on loyalty and the strategic use of alliances, a lesson he would later apply on a massive scale as he sought to unify the Mongol tribes under his command. By the time Temujin emerged as a young leader ready to challenge the status quo, he had already demonstrated his strength, resilience, and capacity for decisive action. His early life was a crucible that refined his character, transforming him from a vulnerable outcast into a leader with a vision that would ultimately shape the fate of the Mongolian steppe and beyond. Every struggle he faced and every bond he formed contributed to his transformation into Genghis Khan, a man determined not only to survive but to conquer and create an empire that would stand the test of time. Through these early challenges, Temujin was preparing himself for a destiny that would change the world, as he sought to bring the chaotic tribes of Mongolia under one unified banner. Temujin's journey toward power began in the quiet strength he found close to home, especially after his marriage to Borte. Following the tradition of his people, he had been betrothed to Borte, a woman from the Ongjarat tribe, at a young age. Borte's tribe was neither large nor powerful, but their alliance provided Temujin with a vital connection to a network of people willing to support him in times of need. Despite these early challenges, the marriage marked a significant turning point in Temujin's life, providing him with not only personal companionship but also a partner in leadership. Borte's loyalty and strength became critical to Temujin's success, particularly when she was kidnapped by a rival tribe, the Merkit. Determined to rescue her, Temujin turned to his closest allies for assistance. This personal crisis led to one of his earliest alliances, as he sought help from Togrul, the powerful Khan of the Karates, and his friend and blood brother Jamukha. The rescue mission was successful, and Borte's return not only solidified Temujin's status as a leader willing to go to any lengths for his family but also deepened the bonds with his allies. After re-establishing stability within his family, Temujin began focusing on building relationships with smaller clans and scattered warriors, gradually drawing them under his influence. He knew that the Mongolian steppes were filled with nomadic tribes and wandering warriors seeking stability and protection, and he offered them exactly that. Many of these clans had lived on the peripheries of the larger tribal alliances, often vulnerable to raids and hostile takeovers. Temujin's ability to offer them safety and a sense of purpose started to attract followers from all corners of the steppe. His vision of unity appealed to those who had long felt isolated and powerless. One of Temujin's early strategies was to create an environment of loyalty and equality among his followers, a system that stood out in a time when tribal hierarchies ruled most alliances. Unlike other leaders who relied on strict tribal divisions, Temujin insisted on a merit-based society within his group. Any warrior who proved his loyalty and skills could rise in rank, regardless of his lineage. This innovative approach attracted warriors from various backgrounds who were willing to serve under him, not because of obligation or blood ties, but because of shared respect and the promise of fair treatment. Additionally, Temujin was acutely aware that resources would be essential in sustaining and expanding his influence. He began to consolidate the resources available within his own family and newly formed alliances. This included livestock, weapons, and supplies, all of which were crucial for survival and warfare on the harsh Mongolian steppe. Temujin took care of his followers, ensuring they had food and shelter, which further deepened their loyalty. He also shared spoils equally, which was unusual for the time and set him apart from other leaders who often hoarded wealth for their inner circles. Temujin's growing reputation as a fair and determined leader began to attract even more isolated warriors and smaller tribes. They saw in him a man who was not only capable of defending his people but also one who treated his followers as equals. His respect for his followers was reciprocated, and this mutual loyalty became a cornerstone of his rising power. Temujin's group of followers started to resemble a small army, bonded by shared hardships and a collective vision of something greater than individual survival. This foundation of family support, early alliances, and the incremental accumulation of resources set Temujin on a clear path toward power. Unlike other tribal leaders who relied on fear and forced allegiance, Temujin's base was solidified through respect, mutual benefit, and a shared vision of unity that would eventually echo across the Mongolian plains. Through his early military campaigns, Genghis Khan began to solidify his influence and leadership skills, which would lay the foundation for his rise to power. One of the most pivotal moments came when he launched a campaign against the Merkit tribe, which had kidnapped his wife, Borte. Determined to rescue her, he carefully planned a strategic attack, mobilizing support from loyal allies and utilizing a fierce surprise assault. This daring rescue not only demonstrated his tactical intelligence but also showcased his determination to protect those close to him. His victory over the Merkits earned him widespread admiration and respect, marking him as a formidable warrior. This reputation as a courageous leader attracted followers from across the steppe, individuals who were drawn to his strength and decisiveness. By establishing himself as a defender of family and allies, he reinforced a bond of loyalty among those around him, many of whom now saw him as more than just a leader but as a protector they could trust. As Genghis Khan's military success grew, so did his need to expand alliances and consolidate his power. Recognizing the importance of unity, he strategically formed partnerships with other tribes, including those he had once clashed with. These alliances were carefully selected to enhance his resources, manpower, and influence. His approach to leadership set him apart from other chieftains of the time. He introduced a merit-based reward system that valued skill and loyalty over lineage or background. This innovative system attracted a diverse group of warriors and leaders who appreciated the opportunity to rise through the ranks based on their contributions. In his dealings with allies and followers, Genghis Khan became known for his balanced leadership approach. While he was uncompromisingly ruthless toward his enemies, he was equally fair to his loyal supporters, rewarding their dedication and ensuring they shared in the rewards of victory. This reputation created an environment of mutual respect and strengthened his hold over his growing coalition, positioning him as a central figure of influence and paving the way for future expansion. Ideological split and betrayal. The rivalry between Genghis Khan, then known as Temujin, and his blood brother Jamukha, marked a critical point in his rise to power. Although they had once been close allies, their ideological differences began to create a rift that would eventually tear them apart. Jamukha, who came from a noble family, believed in maintaining the traditional Mongol aristocratic hierarchies. He saw the Mongol social structure as one that should honor noble birth and familial lineage. On the other hand, Temujin had a more radical vision, one that emphasized loyalty and merit over aristocratic status. His growing leadership was based on rewarding skill, loyalty, and bravery, not nobility, which was a stark contrast to Jamukha's traditional views. As Temujin's influence continued to rise, Jamukha's resentment grew. He could not accept a commoner, someone without noble blood, becoming more powerful than he. Jamukha's disapproval of Temujin's leadership based on merit and his departure from the old traditions eventually led to a major ideological split. The two former allies found themselves on opposite sides of a conflict that would define their future: Temujin's egalitarian, merit-based leadership versus Jamukha's aristocratic vision for Mongol society. The tension between them eventually turned personal, with Jamukha openly turning against Temujin and challenging his leadership, seeing it as a threat to the old order. Battle of Dalan Baljit, 1187. The ideological split between Temujin and Jamukha culminated in the Battle of Dalan Baljit in 1187. Jamukha, leading a coalition of tribes, assembled an army to confront Temujin's growing power. The battle was fierce, and despite Temujin's strategic acumen, his forces were decisively defeated. The defeat, while painful, did not break Temujin's spirit. He was able to escape with his life, but the loss was a significant blow to his ambitions. However, what followed the battle would prove to be more important than the battle itself. While Temujin's forces suffered a crushing defeat, his leadership qualities were made evident to all. In the aftermath, Temujin's ability to inspire loyalty, his refusal to abandon his cause, and his resilience in the face of adversity won him even greater respect. Unlike Jamukha, who reportedly executed 70 young warriors from the defeated army, Temujin demonstrated mercy, refusing to execute his prisoners and instead offering them a chance to join his ranks. This act of mercy contrasted sharply with Jamukha's ruthlessness and helped solidify Temujin's reputation as a fair but firm leader who valued loyalty above all else. The defeated warriors, seeing Temujin's compassion, were drawn to him, further strengthening his ranks. The battle and its aftermath marked a pivotal moment in Temujin's life. Despite his defeat, he learned valuable lessons. He carefully analyzed the tactics and strategies employed in the battle, using the experience to refine his leadership style. Temujin began to understand that his success lay not just in military might but in how he inspired those around him and how he could use both mercy and strength to build lasting loyalty. This period of regrouping after the defeat became a transformative moment for Temujin, sharpening his resolve and preparing him for future confrontations, including his eventual rise as the leader of the Mongol tribes. Emergence as a unifying force. Adoption of the title Khan. As Temujin's power and influence grew, he began to consolidate his control over the Mongol tribes. One significant step in his rise was his adoption of the title Khan, a term that signified leadership and authority over a group of people. By taking this title, Temujin not only solidified his position as a leader but also signaled his ambition to unite the disparate Mongol tribes under one banner. The title Khan would come to symbolize his growing power and his aspirations to bring order and strength to the fractured Mongol world. His rise was not without challenges, but Temujin gradually succeeded in uniting various tribes, convincing them to join forces. Many of these tribes were previously isolated or in conflict with one another, but Temujin's ability to offer protection, resources, and a future built on loyalty made him an appealing leader. Unlike previous leaders who often relied on brute force or coercion, Temujin's approach was more nuanced. He used alliances, marriage, and diplomacy to bring the tribes into his fold, combining military strength with strategic vision. Temujin's inclusivity and fair treatment of his followers earned him widespread support. He rewarded loyalty and skill rather than noble birth, which was a break from traditional Mongol practices that emphasized aristocratic lineage. His policies also focused on the fair distribution of plunder, ensuring that his warriors and followers were well compensated for their efforts. This approach not only strengthened his reputation as a just and capable leader but also attracted more followers. The unification of the Mongol tribes under the title Khan marked the beginning of Temujin's transformation into a powerful and respected leader with a broad and diverse base of support. Establishment of a code of law, the Yasa. In addition to his growing military prowess, Temujin sought to create a sense of unity and order among the Mongols, which had long been plagued by internal divisions. To achieve this, he developed a code of law known as the Yasa. The Yasa was a comprehensive set of rules and principles that governed both the military and social conduct of his people. It emphasized the importance of loyalty, discipline, and justice, and it applied equally to all, regardless of rank or tribe. This was an important departure from the chaotic and often lawless environment that had characterized the Mongol tribes before Temujin's rise. The Yasa served multiple purposes. First, it created a unified system of governance that helped Temujin maintain control over the diverse and often unruly Mongol tribes. By establishing clear rules, Temujin was able to impose order and ensure that his followers understood what was expected of them. Second, it reinforced the notion that loyalty and discipline were paramount to the success of the Mongol people. Under Temujin's rule, anyone who violated the Yasa, regardless of their status, could be punished. This helped to ensure that even the most powerful leaders within the Mongol ranks were held accountable for their actions. Perhaps most importantly, the Yasa strengthened Temujin's leadership in a way that made him more than just a military commander. He became a lawgiver and a symbol of justice. By creating a legal framework that applied to all, Temujin made it clear that his leadership was rooted in fairness and stability, not just military conquest. His ability to establish a code of law earned him the respect of both his allies and subjects, further solidifying his authority. The Yasa not only helped unify the Mongol tribes but also created a cultural and political foundation for the later success of the Mongol Empire. It fostered a sense of collective identity and shared values, which would be crucial in the years to come as Temujin expanded his empire beyond the Mongolian steppes. The code's emphasis on merit, loyalty, and discipline would become central to the Mongol way of life and governance, setting the stage for the remarkable conquests that lay ahead. Military innovations and organizational skills. One of the most remarkable aspects of Temujin's military genius was his organizational ability. He reorganized his army into a highly efficient and disciplined structure, breaking it down into smaller, manageable units. The core of his army was the Tumen, a unit of 10,000 men, and within the Tumen, there were further subdivisions into smaller groups, including 1,000-man, 100-man, and 10-man units. This structure allowed for remarkable flexibility, enabling rapid mobilization and more effective coordination on the battlefield. The creation of the Tumen was a critical innovation that set the Mongol military apart from other contemporary forces. It enabled Temujin to maintain tight control over a vast army, ensuring that communication, movement, and battle strategies were executed efficiently. The system allowed him to respond quickly to changing battlefield conditions and to delegate command to trusted officers. His soldiers were highly disciplined, and each unit had clear responsibilities, which allowed for better organization and coordination during campaigns. Furthermore, the units were structured in such a way that soldiers developed deep loyalty to their commanding officers and comrades, fostering a sense of unity within the army. This loyalty and the high level of discipline Temujin instilled in his forces made the Mongol military one of the most effective in history. It was not just the size of the army but the remarkable organizational skills that gave Temujin a military advantage over his rivals. One of Temujin's most innovative leadership qualities was his ability to recognize and promote talent based solely on merit rather than noble birth or aristocratic connections. Unlike traditional tribal leaders, who often appointed generals and officers based on family lineage and social status, Temujin placed a high value on loyalty, skill, and competence. He actively sought out the best warriors and leaders, regardless of their social background, and promoted them based on their abilities. This policy was revolutionary and gave rise to a new class of warrior leaders who owed their positions to their prowess and dedication, rather than their noble birth. The promotion of warriors from humble backgrounds helped solidify Temujin's power and win the loyalty of his men, as soldiers knew they could rise based on their merit. This policy also attracted the most skilled warriors from across the Mongolian steppe, who in turn brought their talents and loyalty to Temujin's cause. By breaking down traditional social barriers and creating an army based on ability and loyalty, Temujin built an elite force that was unrivaled in its skill, flexibility, and effectiveness. Victory over the Nomad and other major rivals. In the late 12th century, one of the last significant obstacles to Temujin's control of Mongolia was the Nomad tribe. The Nomad were a powerful group, and their defeat was essential for Temujin to solidify his dominance over the Mongol plateau. The Nomad had their own considerable military forces and were initially hesitant to submit to Temujin's rule. However, Temujin's military strategy and organizational skills played a crucial role in their eventual defeat. Temujin launched a decisive campaign against the Nomad, showcasing his superior tactics. His forces were well organized, disciplined, and strategically deployed, allowing them to outmaneuver and overpower the Nomad despite being outnumbered in some cases. The victory over the Nomad was not just a military success but also symbolized Temujin's ability to defeat even the most formidable rivals and secure his authority over the Mongolian tribes. After their defeat, the Nomad were forced to submit to Temujin's leadership. Some members of the tribe were integrated into Temujin's army, while others were eliminated to prevent further threats to his rule. This victory marked the final step in Temujin's consolidation of power in Mongolia. With the defeat of the Nomad and other major tribes, Temujin had effectively unified the Mongolian plateau. His military success and organizational prowess had eliminated all significant rivals, leaving him as the uncontested leader of the Mongol tribes. The respect he earned from the once rival tribes was critical in consolidating his power. These tribes, recognizing Temujin's military genius and leadership, submitted to his authority and joined his empire. Temujin's ability to unite these tribes was a testament to his extraordinary leadership. He forged alliances with former enemies and integrated them into his growing empire, ensuring that each tribe had a stake in the new Mongol state. His inclusivity and ability to manage diverse groups under his rule made him a unique leader in Mongolian history. Proclamation as Genghis Khan, 1206. In 1206, Temujin held a grand Kurultai, a traditional Mongol assembly, where he was officially declared Genghis Khan, meaning universal ruler. This event marked the culmination of his rise to power. For the first time, all Mongol tribes were united under a single leader, a feat that had never been accomplished before in Mongol history. The declaration of Genghis Khan signified the formal beginning of the Mongol Empire and marked a pivotal moment in world history. The Kurultai was an important political and symbolic event. During the assembly, Temujin made his case for leadership, emphasizing his achievements, military successes, and his ability to unify the Mongol tribes. His ability to gain the support of the assembled chiefs and leaders was a testament to his political acumen and diplomatic skills. The title Genghis Khan had profound symbolic and political significance. It elevated Temujin from being a tribal chieftain to an imperial figure with aspirations of global conquest. The title reflected not only his current authority over the Mongol tribes but also his ambition to expand his empire beyond the steppes of Mongolia. The political implications of the title were immense. As Genghis Khan, Temujin now had the legitimacy to launch campaigns against neighboring states and tribes. His leadership was no longer just about uniting the Mongol tribes, it was about forging an empire that could challenge the established powers of the world. The title of Genghis Khan cemented Temujin's legacy as one of history's most influential leaders. From this point, he began a series of military campaigns that would reshape the political landscape of Asia and beyond, eventually leading to the creation of the largest contiguous empire the world has ever known. Early conflicts and struggles for survival, 1170s to 1180s. Temujin's capture by the Taichi-Udi tribe marked a defining moment in his early life. As a young boy, he was captured along with his family when they were abandoned by their allies. The harsh conditions of his captivity, including physical torture and forced labor, taught him invaluable lessons about survival. His escape, driven by a burning desire for freedom and vengeance, led to the formation of a small loyal following, marking the beginning of his rise. This event forged Temujin's resilience and began to shape his identity as a leader who would not tolerate injustice. The experience played a crucial role in his later ability to unite the Mongol tribes. Temujin's quest for revenge against the Taichi-Udi tribe was a pivotal chapter in his early years. The humiliation he endured fueled his determination to get even. The conflict with the Taichi-Udi tribe served not only as a personal vendetta but as an opportunity for Temujin to display his military acumen. This marked the start of his development as a strategist, as he began to forge military alliances and test his leadership. His growing military success and his ability to win loyalty from other tribes gave him a reputation as a capable leader, helping him gain further followers. The kidnapping of Borte, Temujin's wife, by the Merkit tribe was a defining moment in his early career. Temujin's swift and decisive action to rescue her not only strengthened his leadership but also forged important alliances. His alliance with Togrul, Wang Khan, the leader of the Karait tribe, was a significant step towards consolidating power. This alliance demonstrated Temujin's strategic use of marriage to create bonds and his ability to earn the trust of powerful tribal leaders. His successful campaign against the Merkit tribe further cemented his reputation and expanded his influence, showcasing his emerging role as a unifying force among the Mongol tribes. 2. The Battle with Jamukha, 1187. The rivalry between Temujin and Jamukha, once close friends, became one of the defining conflicts of Temujin's early career. Their ideological differences deepened over time, with Jamukha advocating for the aristocratic and traditional tribal structure, while Temujin favored a merit-based system of leadership. This conflict revealed Temujin's desire to break free from the old tribal aristocracy and his belief in loyalty and personal merit as the foundation of power. The personal nature of the rivalry, coupled with these conflicting ideologies, led to a major split that culminated in open warfare. The Battle of Dalan Baljit, 1187. The Battle of Dalan Baljit in 1187 was a significant early battle between the forces of Temujin and Jamukha. Despite the loss for Temujin's forces, the battle was important for several reasons. Temujin's forces showed incredible resilience in the face of adversity, and this battle became a powerful symbol of his leadership. While Jamukha's army won the battle, Temujin's reputation grew due to the courage and determination of his men. The tactical approaches during the battle revealed Temujin's growing military insight, despite the setback. In the aftermath of the battle, Temujin's ability to regroup and learn from his mistakes was evident. Despite his defeat, he managed to recruit new followers who were impressed by his leadership. In contrast, Jamukha's brutal treatment of prisoners, including the execution of 70 young warriors, alienated potential allies and turned many against him. This marked the beginning of Jamukha's decline as a leader, while Temujin's rise continued as he demonstrated mercy, fairness, and wisdom, key traits that would serve him in his later campaigns. 3. Consolidation of power among the Mongol tribes. Temujin's success in uniting the Mongol tribes was partly due to his use of strategic marriages to solidify alliances. His marriage to Borte was a crucial step, not only because of her role in his life but also because of the diplomatic ties it brought. Additionally, Temujin skillfully negotiated alliances with key tribal leaders, using both diplomacy and military force. His focus on merit-based leadership helped him attract followers, as his policies were more inclusive than traditional aristocratic ones. The loyalty he commanded among his allies was a testament to his unique approach to leadership, which emphasized ability and loyalty rather than birthright. Through a combination of military campaigns and alliances, Temujin successfully united various Mongol tribes under his leadership. He utilized the principle of meritocracy, rewarding loyal followers with land and titles, which fostered a sense of unity among the tribes. By integrating smaller tribes and defeating traditional rivals, Temujin built a powerful and cohesive confederation. His leadership style, which emphasized loyalty and discipline, was key to this success, as it contrasted with the traditional tribal practices that often involved betrayal and disunity. 4. The conflict with the Jin Empire, 1211 to 1215. Temujin's growing ambition to expand beyond Mongolia led him to target the Jin Empire. The Jin controlled northern China, and their vast resources made them a valuable prize. Temujin's initial raids into Jin territory were met with resistance, but his forces were underestimated. The Jin's failure to recognize the threat posed by Temujin allowed him to gain an early foothold in the region. The Jin's overconfidence and Temujin's military prowess set the stage for a prolonged and brutal campaign. The siege of Zhongdu, modern Beijing, was one of the most significant battles of Temujin's early imperial campaigns. His forces employed siege tactics that were ahead of their time, such as the use of siege engines and psychological warfare to break the will of the defenders. The fall of Zhongdu was a major victory, both symbolically and strategically. It was the first major Mongol conquest of a Chinese city and sent shockwaves through the Jin Empire. The psychological impact of this victory, particularly the loss of such an important city, weakened the Jin Empire significantly. Following the victory at Zhongdu, Temujin's forces continued to apply pressure on the Jin Empire. The strategic use of Mongol cavalry, which was highly mobile and effective in both open battles and sieges, allowed them to expand their control over northern China. The Jin Empire, now in a state of disarray, was unable to recover from the Mongol onslaught, and the Mongols eventually drove the Jin into decline. The collapse of the Jin Empire was not just a military victory, it was a demonstration of Temujin's ability to capitalize on weaknesses in his enemies and maintain relentless pressure. 5. The invasion of the Khwarezmian Empire, 1218 to 1221. Temujin's decision to invade the Khwarezmian Empire was prompted by a diplomatic incident in which the Khwarezmian Shah, Ala ad-Din Muhammad, killed a Mongol trade caravan and executed Mongol ambassadors. This insult was met with immediate and ruthless retaliation from Temujin. The subsequent invasion of the Khwarezmian Empire was marked by a relentless and brutal campaign that saw the Mongols destroy city after city. Temujin's decision to punish the Khwarezmians for their treachery was part of his broader policy of ensuring that no one could question his authority or disrespect his envoys. The siege of Samarkand was one of the most famous episodes in the Khwarezmian campaign. Using innovative military tactics, including feigned retreats and the strategic use of siege weapons, the Mongols were able to breach the city's defenses. The fall of Samarkand, along with other cities such as Bokhara and Nishapur, marked a turning point in the campaign. The Mongol strategy involved a combination of speed, surprise and terror, which overwhelmed the Khwarezmian defenders. The destruction wrought by the Mongols during these sieges left deep psychological scars on the region. The Khwarezmian Empire was methodically dismantled by the Mongols. Temujin's forces employed a strategy of total destruction, annihilating both the military forces and the civilian populations in the cities they conquered. This brutal campaign earned Temujin a reputation for mercilessness, which served both as a warning to potential enemies and as a means of ensuring future obedience. The eventual collapse of the Khwarezmian Shah's rule and his flight marked the end of the empire, solidifying Temujin's reputation as one of history's most feared conquerors. 6. The campaigns in Central Asia and the Caucasus. Temujin's expansion into the Caspian Sea region was part of his broader strategy to control the vast territory stretching from the Pacific Ocean to the Caspian. The Mongols successfully conquered the Kipchak and other Turkic tribes in the region. The challenging terrain of the Caucasus made these campaigns particularly difficult, but Temujin's ability to adapt his military tactics allowed him to overcome these challenges. The Mongol victory in this region extended their dominance over Central Asia and set the stage for further campaigns in the Middle East. The final confrontation with Jamukha, 1206. The rivalry between Temujin, Genghis Khan, and Jamukha reached its peak in 1206 after years of escalating tensions. Initially, the two were close allies, but their differing visions for Mongol unity caused their relationship to deteriorate. Temujin wanted to create a meritocratic society, where individuals were promoted based on ability, while Jamukha favored the traditional system of aristocratic rule. This division led to a final confrontation. After several battles, Jamukha attempted to rally other Mongol tribes against Temujin. However, Temujin's leadership and military brilliance turned the tide in his favor. At the Battle of the Onon River, Temujin used superior tactics, including feigned retreats, to confuse and defeat Jamukha's larger army. Despite being outnumbered, Temujin's disciplined forces achieved a decisive victory. Following his defeat, Jamukha was captured, and Temujin executed many of his warriors, using their deaths as a warning to any others who would betray him. Jamukha's attempt to flee was unsuccessful, and his eventual fate was sealed as Temujin continued to enforce his dominance over the Mongol tribes. With Jamukha's defeat, Temujin solidified his position as the undisputed leader of the Mongols. 2. The rise of the Great Khan, 1206. In 1206, after his victory over Jamukha, Temujin was formally crowned as Genghis Khan by the Mongol Kurultai, an assembly of tribal leaders. This event marked the unification of the Mongol tribes under his leadership. Temujin's election was not only a political triumph but also a reflection of his extraordinary ability to unite various factions. The title Genghis Khan carried great significance, symbolizing his supreme authority over the Mongol people and laying the foundation for the empire he would build. Under his leadership, Temujin implemented several reforms, including the Yasa Code, which established laws for the Mongol Empire and helped centralize power. His meritocratic approach to leadership allowed him to promote capable individuals, regardless of their birth, ensuring loyalty and strengthening his rule. Despite the challenges he faced, including internal dissent and external threats, Temujin's rise to power was a testament to his strategic genius and relentless ambition. 3. The invasion of the Jin Empire, 1211 to 1215. Temujin's ambitions for expanding the Mongol Empire led him to target the Jin Empire, which controlled northern China. The Jin had previously clashed with the Mongols, but they underestimated Temujin's growing power. In 1211, after a series of raids into Jin territory, Temujin launched a full-scale invasion. His forces were highly mobile and disciplined, and they quickly overwhelmed the Jin defenses. The Mongols utilized fast cavalry and siege tactics, which proved highly effective in breaking through the Jin's fortifications. The fall of the Jin capital, Zhongdu, in 1215 was a significant moment in the campaign. The city's capture marked the collapse of Jin resistance in the north and demonstrated the Mongols' military prowess. Temujin's victory in the Jin campaign was a key milestone in his expansion and solidified the Mongol status as a dominant force in Asia. 4. The campaign against the Khwarezmian Empire, 1218 to 1221. The Khwarezmian Empire's actions in 1218, including the execution of Mongol ambassadors and the killing of a Mongol trade caravan, triggered one of the most brutal campaigns in history. Temujin was enraged by the insult to his empire and vowed to exact revenge. His forces began a series of devastating raids into Khwarezmian territory, employing psychological warfare and siege tactics to break the enemy's will. The siege of Bokhara was particularly significant, with Temujin's forces slaughtering thousands of defenders and sending a clear message to the Khwarezmian Shah. The fall of Samarkand, another key city in the empire, further weakened Khwarezmian resistance. Temujin's relentless pursuit of the Shah, who fled the empire, marked the beginning of the end for the Khwarezmian state. The Shah's death in exile sealed the fate of his empire, while the Mongols cemented their dominance in Central Asia. The Battle of the Indus in 1221 was another decisive moment in Temujin's campaign against the Khwarezmians. After the death of the Khwarezmian Shah, the remnants of his forces attempted to regroup. However, Temujin's Mongols, fresh from their earlier victories, decisively defeated the Khwarezmian remnants. The battle showcased Temujin's military genius, as he adapted his strategies to the terrain and the enemy's movements. The defeat of the Khwarezmians at the Indus effectively ended any remaining resistance from the empire and solidified Mongol control over the region. This victory further established Temujin's reputation as one of history's greatest military leaders and marked the expansion of the Mongol Empire into the territories of modern-day Iran, Afghanistan, and beyond. The relationship between Temujin and Jamukha had been one of both camaraderie and rivalry. Born into the same tribe, both men had initially been allies, fighting side by side during their youth. Temujin, however, had always envisioned a new order for the Mongol people, an empire based on merit and loyalty, rather than the traditional aristocratic power structures that Jamukha championed. This fundamental difference in their views led to their falling out. Jamukha, a warrior born into a noble family, adhered to the old Mongol ways, believing in the supremacy of the aristocracy. In contrast, Temujin promoted meritocracy, where loyalty and talent were valued more than birthright. Tensions between the two grew over the years as their visions for Mongol society diverged. Despite their differences, they had fought together in many battles, and their bond was once strong. However, this eventually gave way to distrust and animosity. The culmination of their rivalry came in 1206, during a decisive battle near the Onon River. Jamukha, who had previously gathered a coalition of Mongol tribes, was set on defeating Temujin and asserting his own dominance over the Mongols. The battle was fierce and brutal, and the Mongols under Jamukha's banner outnumbered Temujin's forces. However, Temujin's army, while smaller, was better trained and more disciplined. His forces used a series of tactical maneuvers, including feigned retreats, to draw Jamukha's forces into a vulnerable position. This display of strategic brilliance helped Temujin secure a critical victory. In the aftermath of the battle, Temujin showed his ruthlessness and power. He captured many of Jamukha's warriors and executed 70 of them by boiling them alive, an act that shocked the Mongol tribes. The brutality of this decision was not without purpose. It sent a clear message to any who might betray Temujin or question his authority. His victory not only solidified his position but also marked the beginning of his unquestioned control over the Mongol tribes. Despite the defeat, Jamukha would continue to challenge Temujin, but his position was irreparably weakened. This battle was pivotal in Temujin's rise to power. It demonstrated his tactical genius and established him as the leader of the Mongols, a title he would hold for the rest of his life. The defeat of Jamukha also marked the end of the old Mongol order and the beginning of a new era under Temujin's leadership. Following his victory over Jamukha, Temujin convened a Kurultai, a traditional Mongol assembly, in 1206. It was at this gathering that he was formally elected Genghis Khan, which means universal ruler. The coronation of Temujin as Genghis Khan was not just a political event, it was a symbolic moment that marked the consolidation of power under his leadership. The title was an acknowledgement of his unmatched authority and the recognition of his ability to unite the fragmented Mongol tribes. The Kurultai was a significant moment in the history of the Mongols. It was the first time in their history that a single leader was chosen to rule all the Mongol tribes. This unification under Temujin's banner was an extraordinary achievement, considering the numerous tribal conflicts and rivalries that had previously divided the Mongol people. Temujin's leadership was not based on hereditary claims or tribal affiliation but on his personal qualities, his military prowess, his ability to inspire loyalty, and his vision for a unified Mongol state. One of the key elements of Temujin's leadership was his reform of Mongol society. He implemented a strict code of law known as the Yasa, which governed all aspects of Mongol life. The Yasa was designed to promote order, discipline, and loyalty within the Mongol Empire. It included laws on military conduct, property rights, and social behavior. It also promoted a meritocratic system, where individuals could rise through the ranks based on their abilities rather than their birth or lineage. This was a revolutionary concept in a world where aristocratic privilege was the norm. Temujin's rise to power was also characterized by his ability to consolidate alliances and maintain the loyalty of his followers. He was a shrewd and calculating leader who understood the importance of loyalty and trust in maintaining power. He rewarded those who remained loyal to him with land, wealth, and titles, while punishing traitors and rivals with ruthless efficiency. His military reforms, including the creation of the Tumen, a unit of 10,000 men, ensured that his army was well organized and capable of carrying out complex operations. As Genghis Khan, Temujin set his sights on expanding his empire beyond the Mongol steppes. His leadership marked the beginning of a series of military campaigns that would eventually lead to the creation of one of the largest empires in world history. The Jin Empire, located in northern China, was one of the most powerful states in Asia during the early 13th century. The Jin had long been a rival of the Mongols, and their control of northern China was a constant source of tension. In 1211, after a series of provocations, Temujin launched an invasion of the Jin Empire. The campaign was meticulously planned and executed with the full force of Mongol military might. Temujin's forces utilized their famous cavalry, which was highly mobile and capable of striking with incredible speed and precision. They also made use of siege tactics, which the Mongols had adapted from their experiences with other civilizations. The Mongol army besieged Jin cities with ruthless efficiency, using psychological warfare to break the morale of their enemies. One of the most significant victories came in 1215 with the capture of Zhongdu, modern-day Beijing. The fall of Zhongdu was a devastating blow to the Jin Empire, and it demonstrated the effectiveness of Mongol military strategies. The Jin Empire, unable to withstand the Mongol onslaught, was forced to surrender vast territories. This victory was a significant milestone in Temujin's quest to expand his empire. It also allowed the Mongols to secure control over northern China, a region rich in resources and strategically important for further military campaigns. In addition to the military successes, Temujin's invasion of the Jin Empire also had a cultural impact. The Mongols, who had long been a nomadic people, were now in contact with one of the most advanced civilizations in Asia. This exposure to Chinese culture, technology, and administration would play a crucial role in the development of the Mongol Empire in the coming decades. The Khwarezmian Empire, located in present-day Iran, Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan, became one of the most important targets for Temujin's expansion. The conflict between the Mongols and the Khwarezmians began when a Mongol trade caravan was attacked and its members killed by the forces of the Khwarezmian Shah, Ala ad-Din Muhammad. The Shah's decision to kill the ambassadors sent by Temujin was seen as a direct insult to the Mongol leader and sparked one of the most brutal military campaigns in history. Temujin, enraged by the Shah's actions, vowed to destroy the Khwarezmian Empire. In 1218, he launched a full-scale invasion, sending his forces to conquer the Khwarezmian territories. The Mongols, who were already skilled in cavalry warfare and siege tactics, quickly adapted to the Khwarezmian defenses. Cities such as Bokhara, Samarkand, and Nishapur fell to the Mongol siege engines and disciplined forces. The Mongols utilized psychological tactics, including spreading fear and terror among the local populations, to break the will of their enemies. One of the most brutal episodes of the campaign occurred during the siege of Bokhara. The city, which had been a cultural and intellectual center, fell to the Mongols after a prolonged siege. In retaliation for the Shah's actions, Temujin ordered the execution of tens of thousands of Khwarezmian defenders, including civilians. The city's fall marked the beginning of the end for the Khwarezmian Empire. The Mongols pursued the Shah across the empire, and by 1221, the Khwarezmian state was effectively destroyed. The Shah fled westward, but the Mongols eventually tracked him down, forcing him into exile. His death in 1221 marked the final collapse of the Khwarezmian Empire and the consolidation of Mongol power in Central Asia. The Battle of the Indus, fought in 1221, was the final blow to the Khwarezmian remnants. After the Shah's death, the surviving Khwarezmian forces attempted to regroup and resist Mongol advances. However, Temujin's military genius and the overwhelming strength of the Mongol army led to a decisive victory at the Battle of the Indus. The Mongols, using their superior tactics and organization, utterly destroyed the Khwarezmian forces. The remnants of the empire were scattered, and the Mongols solidified their control over the vast territories of Central Asia. With the Khwarezmian Empire destroyed, the Mongols now held sway over much of the land between the Caspian Sea and the Indian subcontinent. The later years of Genghis Khan were marked by aging and health challenges, but he remained an active and visionary leader until his death in 1227. Despite his physical decline, he worked tirelessly to consolidate his empire. He focused on ensuring that the vast territories he had conquered were governed efficiently, delegating authority to his sons, generals, and trusted advisors. Genghis Khan's ability to delegate and rely on capable individuals within his empire was one of the key factors that ensured the Mongol Empire's survival for several decades after his death. His administrative strategies laid the groundwork for the Mongols' long-lasting dominance, as his successors continued to manage the empire according to his methods. A crucial aspect of his later years was his succession plan. Genghis Khan knew that his empire was too vast to be ruled by a single person indefinitely. He divided his empire among his sons and grandsons, with each being given control over specific regions. This division ensured that the Mongol Empire could continue to thrive after his death, as each leader would have the autonomy to rule their respective territories while still remaining loyal to the overall Mongol vision. His system of leadership, which emphasized loyalty and merit rather than bloodlines or tradition, became a cornerstone of Mongol governance, and it helped his sons and grandsons to build upon the empire's strength. However, the Mongol Empire was not without its challenges. Internal revolts became more frequent in the years following Genghis Khan's death. While his military prowess and unifying vision had once kept the empire together, the vastness of the territories and the cultural differences between the regions created friction. The conquered populations, often resistant to Mongol rule, would occasionally rise up, leading to conflicts and power struggles. These revolts put a strain on the Mongol leadership, particularly as the empire's leadership became more divided. The Mongol rulers, once united under Genghis Khan's banner, were now spread thin and faced the daunting task of keeping the empire intact in his absence. The death of Genghis Khan in 1227 had an immediate and profound impact on the Mongol Empire. While his passing marked the end of an era, it also sparked a series of power struggles among his heirs. Genghis Khan's sons and grandsons vied for power, leading to instability in the empire. The absence of a strong central figure like Genghis Khan allowed for internal divisions to surface, and the once unified Mongol Empire began to fragment. This division marked the beginning of the empire's decline. Without the unifying presence of Genghis Khan, the Mongol leaders struggled to maintain the unity and strength that had characterized the empire during its peak. As the empire splintered, it was divided into several khanates, each governed by different branches of Genghis Khan's family. The Yuan dynasty in China, the Ilkhanate in Persia, the Golden Horde in Russia, and the Chagatai Khanate in Central Asia were the four primary divisions that emerged. While these khanates initially continued to uphold Genghis Khan's legacy, internal strife and leadership challenges weakened the Mongol hold on these territories. The Mongol military, once feared across Eurasia, began to lose its dominance as local rulers and competing powers rose to challenge Mongol authority. The disintegration of the Mongol Empire into separate khanates ultimately made it difficult for the Mongols to present a united front, allowing for other empires to fill the power vacuum left by Genghis Khan's passing. The most notable decline occurred in China, where the Yuan dynasty, founded by Genghis Khan's grandson, Kublai Khan, eventually fell in 1368. The Mongols' inability to adapt to Chinese culture and their reliance on foreign rule led to widespread dissatisfaction among the Chinese populace. The eventual rebellion by the Chinese and the rise of the Ming dynasty marked the end of Mongol rule in China. Similarly, other Mongol khanates began to face internal fragmentation, leadership disputes, and external challenges that weakened their power. Despite the decline of the Mongol Empire, the legacy of Genghis Khan continued to influence global history. His conquests had a profound impact on trade, culture, and military strategies across Eurasia. The Pax Mongolica, a period of relative peace and stability across much of the empire, facilitated the exchange of goods, ideas, and technologies between East and West. Genghis Khan's military tactics, particularly his use of cavalry and psychological warfare, were studied and emulated by subsequent generations of military leaders. His ability to unite disparate tribes under a single banner and his innovative approach to governance left an indelible mark on the world. Genghis Khan's mythic status grew over time, with his reputation evolving from that of a ruthless conqueror to a symbol of Mongol unity and strength. In modern times, he has been viewed as both a brutal tyrant and a visionary leader. His legacy has been interpreted in various ways, depending on the perspective of the observer. In Mongolia, he is revered as a national hero who united the Mongol people and laid the foundation for their empire's global impact. In other parts of the world, his legacy is often remembered with fear, given the destruction and suffering that accompanied his campaigns. Nonetheless, Genghis Khan's influence on the course of history remains undeniable. In conclusion, the Mongol Empire, after reaching its zenith under Genghis Khan, faced significant challenges in the years following his death. The division of the empire into khanates, internal conflicts, and the eventual decline of Mongol power in China and other regions signaled the empire's disintegration. However, Genghis Khan's impact on global history, his military strategies, and his governance model continued to shape the world long after his death. The Mongol Empire's lasting legacy is a testament to the profound influence Genghis Khan had on the course of history, and his achievements and vision continue to be studied and remembered to this day. The legacy of Genghis Khan is profound, with his impact resonating throughout history, both in the regions he conquered and across the world. His conquests altered the course of civilizations, influencing everything from trade and culture to governance and military strategies. Genghis Khan's leadership style and his ability to unite a vast and diverse empire have made him one of history's most iconic figures. Despite the brutality that marked his campaigns, his contributions to the world have been monumental, shaping the course of history in ways that are still evident today. Genghis Khan's most immediate legacy was the creation of the Mongol Empire, which at its peak, became the largest contiguous empire in history. The empire's vastness and the speed at which it expanded were unprecedented. This territorial expanse allowed for unprecedented cultural exchange between the East and West, a period often referred to as the Pax Mongolica. The Mongol Empire facilitated the Silk Road trade, connecting the East and West in ways that had not been seen before. Goods, ideas, technologies, and even diseases were exchanged across the empire's vast network of trade routes, fostering global connectivity. The impact of the Mongol Empire on trade cannot be overstated. The stability provided by Mongol rule, particularly under Genghis Khan and his successors, enabled merchants to travel across vast distances with a degree of safety not seen before. This boosted trade between China, Central Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. The Mongols also promoted the use of standardized weights and measures, which further facilitated commerce. As a result, products such as silk, porcelain, spices, and paper spread from the east to the west, while Western goods, ideas, and inventions made their way to the east. The Mongols not only preserved but also promoted the use of the Silk Road, making it a conduit for the exchange of culture and technology. On the military front, Genghis Khan's legacy is marked by his revolutionary approach to warfare. His military strategies, particularly the use of cavalry and his mastery of psychological warfare, have influenced generations of military leaders. His emphasis on mobility, speed, and surprise tactics allowed his army to overcome enemies much larger than itself. Genghis Khan's ability to adapt his strategies to various terrains and situations made him a formidable adversary. Additionally, his innovative use of communication and intelligence networks allowed for rapid coordination on the battlefield, giving him an advantage over his enemies. His military innovations, such as the use of mounted archers and the use of feigned retreats to deceive the enemy, are still studied in military academies worldwide. Genghis Khan's approach to governance was equally revolutionary. He created an empire that, while vast and diverse, was held together through a set of laws and policies that emphasized merit, loyalty, and justice. The Yasa, a code of laws created by Genghis Khan, governed both the military and civilian life. This legal system was ahead of its time, promoting religious tolerance, protecting trade, and establishing strict penalties for corruption and treason. The Yasa helped maintain order in an empire that spanned from China to Eastern Europe, and its focus on loyalty to the state ensured that the Mongol Empire remained cohesive, despite its vast size and diversity. Furthermore, Genghis Khan's emphasis on religious tolerance had a profound impact on the regions he conquered. While the Mongols themselves were shamanists, Genghis Khan promoted religious freedom and encouraged the practice of various faiths, including Buddhism, Islam, and Christianity, within his empire. This tolerance allowed different cultures and religions to coexist peacefully under Mongol rule, fostering a sense of unity despite the empire's ethnic and religious diversity. His policy of religious tolerance also helped to prevent religious conflict and encourage the exchange of ideas between different belief systems. Another key aspect of Genghis Khan's legacy was his role in shaping the history of Eurasia. His conquests disrupted existing power structures, toppling empires and kingdoms across Central Asia, the Middle East, and China. In China, the Mongols eventually established the Yuan dynasty, which lasted until 1368. This was the first time that China had been ruled by a foreign power, and it left a lasting impact on Chinese history. The Mongols' rule introduced new ideas, technologies, and cultural influences into China, while also reshaping its political landscape. Genghis Khan's descendants continued to exert influence over the region for centuries after his death. In Russia, the Mongol invasions had a long-lasting impact on the development of the Russian state. The Mongol period, known as the Tatar yoke, lasted for over 2 centuries, and during this time, Russia was influenced by Mongol political and military structures. The Mongols helped to consolidate the Russian principalities, providing them with a model for centralized rule. This influence can still be seen in Russia's political culture today, particularly in its emphasis on strong, centralized leadership. Genghis Khan's influence on world history is also visible in the rise of the Ottoman Empire. The Mongols had a significant impact on the political landscape of the Middle East, and many of the Turkic tribes that later formed the Ottoman Empire were directly influenced by the Mongols. The Mongols' military prowess and their ability to unify vast territories inspired the Ottomans, who adopted similar strategies in their own expansion across the Middle East and Europe. While Genghis Khan's legacy is primarily associated with his empire building and military achievements, his impact on culture and science should not be overlooked. The Mongols played a key role in the transmission of knowledge and technology across Eurasia. The Mongols were instrumental in the spread of gunpowder, papermaking, and printing technologies from China to the West. These technologies would go on to have a profound impact on European civilization, particularly during the Renaissance. The Mongols also played a role in the transmission of Islamic knowledge, including advancements in mathematics, astronomy, and medicine, to the West. In addition to these tangible contributions, Genghis Khan's legacy is also shaped by his image in world history. In Mongolia, he is regarded as a national hero and a symbol of Mongol unity and strength. His image is celebrated in monuments, statues, and national holidays, and he is often depicted as a visionary leader who united the Mongol tribes and created an empire that changed the world. Outside of Mongolia, however, Genghis Khan's legacy is often viewed with ambivalence. While his military achievements are widely admired, his brutal conquests, which led to the deaths of millions, have left a darker stain on his reputation. This duality in his legacy, both as a conqueror and a visionary, has led to diverse interpretations of his life and actions. In the modern world, Genghis Khan's influence continues to be felt. His military strategies are still taught in military academies, and his impact on trade and cultural exchange is acknowledged in the context of globalization. His legacy is also evident in the continued influence of Mongol culture, particularly in Central Asia, where the Mongols' language, traditions, and practices continue to shape the identity of the region. Genghis Khan's story, with its dramatic rise to power, conquests, and eventual legacy, serves as both a cautionary tale and an enduring source of inspiration. In conclusion, Genghis Khan's legacy and impact on world history are immense. His creation of the Mongol Empire reshaped the geopolitical landscape of Eurasia, and his policies and innovations in warfare, governance, and trade continue to influence the world today. Despite the brutality of his conquests, Genghis Khan's legacy as a unifier, a visionary leader, and a catalyst for cultural exchange remains undeniable. His impact on world history, both positive and negative, ensures that his memory will endure for centuries to come. Genghis Khan's life and legacy are a testament to the complexities of leadership, power, and human ambition. From humble beginnings as the son of a tribal leader to becoming the ruler of the largest contiguous empire in history, Genghis Khan's journey is nothing short of extraordinary. His achievements, both as a military leader and a statesman, have had an indelible impact on the world, reshaping the political, cultural, and economic landscapes across Eurasia and beyond. Throughout his life, Genghis Khan demonstrated remarkable qualities that set him apart from other historical figures. His ability to unite disparate Mongol tribes, overcoming the internal divisions and struggles for power, was a feat that showcased his political acumen and vision. His military genius was evident in the way he led his forces through innovation, speed, and strategic brilliance, allowing the Mongol army to conquer vast regions that seemed unconquerable. However, his rise to power was not just marked by military triumphs but also by his ability to adapt, learn, and evolve from every battle, making him one of history's most effective commanders. Yet, while Genghis Khan's military accomplishments are often celebrated, his legacy is deeply tied to the more controversial aspects of his rule. His conquests were brutal, marked by widespread devastation, massacres, and the displacement of millions. Cities such as Nishapur, Bokhara, and Samarkand fell under his armies, and the human toll of his campaigns remains a significant part of his historical image. However, it is essential to recognize that his approach to warfare, though ruthless, was not unlike that of many other conquerors of his time. What set Genghis Khan apart was his unparalleled success in maintaining the cohesion of his empire, despite its vastness and diversity. The Mongol Empire, under Genghis Khan, became a bridge between East and West, facilitating the exchange of goods, ideas, and culture. The Pax Mongolica, or Mongol Peace, helped to create an environment conducive to trade, travel, and intellectual exchange, which laid the groundwork for the spread of innovations such as gunpowder, paper, and the printing press to the West. His empire also allowed for the diffusion of knowledge, including advancements in science, mathematics, and medicine, that impacted not only the regions under Mongol rule but also the broader world. Genghis Khan's governance, while often seen as autocratic, was also progressive in many respects. His legal code, the Yasa, emphasized loyalty, merit, and justice, providing stability to an empire that spanned diverse cultures and religions. His policy of religious tolerance was a hallmark of his reign, allowing various faiths to coexist peacefully within the Mongol Empire. This tolerance helped foster a sense of unity across the vast empire, despite its diversity. His meritocratic approach to leadership, where individuals were rewarded based on their abilities rather than their birth, reshaped the Mongol military and administration, enabling it to function efficiently across such a vast territory. The impact of Genghis Khan's rule extended far beyond his lifetime. His descendants continued to expand the Mongol Empire, and the Mongol influence on Russia, China, Persia, and the Middle East was felt for generations. The Mongols played a role in shaping the development of modern Europe and Asia, influencing the rise of future empires and shaping the political structures of the regions they had conquered. In particular, his legacy in China, where the Yuan dynasty was established by his grandson Kublai Khan, marks a significant chapter in the history of the Chinese Empire. However, Genghis Khan's legacy is also a subject of much debate. His conquests, while creating the largest empire in history, came at an immense human cost. The destruction and loss of life caused by his military campaigns left a dark shadow over his rule. For many, the scale of suffering caused by his invasions overshadows his achievements. The brutality with which he crushed his enemies, including the obliteration of entire cities, left scars that continue to affect the historical memory of his empire. Yet, this same legacy has also sparked admiration for his ability to overcome such challenges and build an empire that changed the course of history. Ultimately, Genghis Khan's legacy is a complex and multifaceted one. He was a conqueror, a visionary, and a ruler whose influence extended across continents. His leadership, military genius, and ability to unite a diverse empire have left an indelible mark on history. At the same time, his brutal conquests remind us of the darker side of power and the human cost of empire building. Today, Genghis Khan is remembered not only as a military leader and empire builder but also as a symbol of both destruction and creation, whose legacy continues to be studied, debated, and honored across the world.